cheaply on Bloom's orders. Yeah,
That's
I
right.
guess that
Yes,
makes
it
sense.
was
Yeah,
Bloom that
yeah,
destroyed that stuff. That is
yeah,
100% correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All that stuff, throwing stars, caltrops. I don't know. They don't fit the D&D
I used to have a
aesthetic
sheet
for
of
me.
plywood in my backyard leaned up against a telephone pole, and I would throw my shuriken at them
God damn,
all
yeah.
day long. I got pretty good, man. I love that thing.
Oh,
Yep.
throwing knives. I used to have a set of throwing knives.
Yep.
Half the time they would stick, half the time they would bounce off and probably cause problems. But yes.
So, yeah, we were talking about Oriental Adventures and putting that into the game, and Jason's a
Oh,
huge fan.
I missed that when I was parking my car here in Queens and
Yeah.
walking back to the house. I was like, son of a. See, like Oriental. Are we talking like the AD&D 1E
Yes.
Oriental?
Yes, that's what
yes.
we're talking about.
I have a love-hate with that because it was kind of cool, and it was like, oh, you got these new classes that you really didn't work with your regular AD&D stuff, but
Right.
you tried to shove them in. But it also introduced non-weapon proficiencies. I know. It introduced non-weapon proficiencies, which to me at the time was like awesome, and then older me is like, oh, this shit.
Yeah.
We didn't. It was not needed, and then it became, well, you don't have riding proficiency. You can't ride a horse.
You don't have fire starting. What?
You can't start a. You can't start a.
I
fire.
live in medieval times. Everyone should be able to start a fire because if you don't, you're gonna die.
Rub two sticks together. Yeah, I know. Yes, I quote agile. It's what I do. Come on, you know this by now. You're a frequent flyer. By the way, I added my channel. So if you're watching on my channel, make sure you subscribe to Roger's channel.
Yeah, and if you're watching my channel and you're not already subscribed to Tunkar, please go subscribe to his.
You're like in Siberia or something. I don't know
That's
what's going on.
That's a short list. Probably.
We can't help you. You're lost. You're lost.
Tinker, was it Oriental Adventures that introduced non-weapon proficiencies? I thought
it was Oriental Adventures that introduced it, and then
Dungeoneer's Guide and Wilderness Survival Guide. Though,
yeah, the Wilderness and Survival Guide. Yeah. They brought it to regular AD&D.
Yeah,
but
those are two of my favorite. Also, in fact,
they were great.
Man,
as
first edition, everything, great books.
Everything but the non-weapon proficiencies, because I don't have a problem with skills in RPGs. I have a problem with skills in systems at level.
Okay.
Yeah.
One or the other.
And it's great for RuneQuest. I ran a RuneQuest 2 campaign with my first sandbox, Pavis, Big Rubble. It works great. You got a small group. Skills work great. Skill-based, whether it's Call of Cthulhu, RuneQuest, Open D6, they all work fine because you can cover all those little niches and not have to worry about classes. But if in a class-based system, non-weapon proficiency just means it's more shit you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Every time they add a new skill, that means you can't do it unless you have the skill. It's they're adding to the list of things you can't do instead of adding to the things you can do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not like Traveler where people can go, oh, I got Jack of all trades at 0. It means I can actually clean my butt up without help because
do anything. Yeah.
We don't. If or it isn't like you either have it or you don't. Once you introduce skills, people don't go, well, isn't there like a basic knowledge? Like, I don't have a skill in riding a bike, but I can probably learn it, and I have to put a skill point in it, right? I'm like, no, you don't. You could ride a horse, maybe not a war horse, right? You're not riding it into battle. But can you ride on a pack animal? Oh, I don't have the skill. I said, no, come on.
Yeah, I've always been the more permissive type of like anybody can really do anything like that. It's under duress where I'm going to make you make the skill check. Like you can ride a horse. Anybody can ride a horse. Maybe that's not true, right? But like in a game,
you can figure it out. It's like you can.
But if you're being attacked or your horse gets attacked, then you need to know how to ride the horse.
Right, but then here's the other question. Then, all right, so you've been trained at riding horses in combat. do you have to make your skill check every time you're in combat, or is it only in certain? Again,
right.
Usually when it comes to like systems like a D20 system, skills aren't well explained enough as to when you use it and when you don't use
Right.
it, and it becomes this whole either you buy all into it and you're constantly rolling your skill checks, or you just hand wave it and you don't bother at all. And I would rather just hand wave it and not bother at all.
Yeah, no, we don't need skills. We don't need skills. When we need a skill check, we can just do an ability check and call it a day.
Yeah. That was, George's example last week where he was talking about the ranger that was running down here and shooting, and then the gnome illusionist was trying to do the same thing and fell over. That that's a great example of picture that scene happening in a 3.5. Okay, roll me your run skill, roll me your acrobatics check. Roll me. Or you're running down the hill. Go ahead. You're good to go. It's what you do. So yeah, I agree. I like having skills because I feel like some of them can help flesh out the character, but so often they just get in the way. Like Roger said, here's another list of things I cannot do versus a list of things that I can do.
Yeah, like AD&D. We had you had that wonderful list in the DM's guide that was like thrown as an afterthought. What did you kind of do before you became an adventurer? Oh, I was a Fletcher. No, you weren't.
Right.
Everybody wanted it, right? No,
I can make arrows.
My warrior was a Fletcher. I'll make my own arrows. No, I was an armorer. No.
Totally agree. That's
probably a farmer.
The DCC list. It's got 100 just oddball actual medieval jobs. The gong farmer. The rat catcher, things like that. Yeah. And it's nothing that's going to be like, I can make my own arrows. It's like, no, you get a +1 versus rats. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. You have a rake so you can rake out the poop.
Right.
Yeah, but that ought to give you some kind of poison damage if you crit or something like that.
Well, no, if you're the gong farmer, you probably have like a bonus against disease.
Immune to stench.
Right.
You're exposed to it all the time. Come on. Right to you lost your sense of smell. That's probably another one.
Yeah. If you have skills, just make skill rolls if there's some kind of stressor involved. Combat time. Yeah, right. Otherwise, just assume the PC was successful without rolling. Yeah, absolutely. Issue Boyer, Fletcher, and ABB. Okay. Gong Farmer, Local 101. Yeah, CNC's approach isn't bad, which is just the ability check with adding your level and stuff, and there's only the classes have specific specific skills and stuff, which that's what we're using in our long campaign here. So
going back to the actual topic of tonight's discussion, but tying it into this, it was interesting to me at the beginning of our campaign. We had a couple of guys that had only ever played 5th edition. Josh was one of those guys that was, and man, it was so hard to get him to break those 5th edition habits. Anytime he would want to do something, he would look at Roger and be like, what do I roll to do that? And Roger's like, what do you roll? What are you talking about? You're just starting the fire. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, but I have to roll, right? Yeah, man. Because it's the guys get addicted to that die. Okay, I'm going to roll for every single thing I do. Or we can play Dungeons and Dragons. You can start the fire and we can cook our dinner.
Right. You can talk it out. I've run at conventions 2 sessions of Sorcerer with Relight for 5e groups. One was a home group from that 6 of my 7 players played 5e together, signed up to play D&D on the hard level, as they actually told me.
Yeah.
I thought that was no, nobody says that. No, they wanted to play D&D on the hard level. And they bought in right away. They were really great about it. And then at GaryCon, the year we had a lot of snow, we had our 5e GM get, they got snowed out. I had to run a session for everybody from 5e, and I show up with I should still have them up on me. I show up with a pile of these, and I'm like, "Hey, this is what you're gonna play." 4 pages, and one guy walked away because he knew it wasn't for him. Everybody else gave it a shot, and it took one player the whole session to stop telling me, I rolled to detect lie. I rolled to intimidate. But you had the other players policing him. They're going, dude, no, tell him. Tell him what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, what do I roll? They're like, no, we've been doing this now for an hour. Tell him. Explain to the GM what you're doing, and you'll get an answer. So some people do get addicted to the role, right? Because it takes away their responsibility. And I think it's player skill, right? You have to have. Well, you were talking about it earlier. Like, what's more important, a good GM or good players?
Mm-hmm.
The right GM with the right rule set is very important.
Sure.
Okay. You got to find your comfort zone. For me, that's AD&D 1E, 2E, Swords and Wizardry Light. But you probably Hyperborea, I'll be overwhelmed, and DCC, I'll probably, even if I know the rules, I'm not going to get it right because I'm going to want shortcuts.
Yeah,
that's just my style. But good, strong players make you a better GM. Okay, and I'm not talking about rules lawyers because I play with a bunch of them because everybody is a game master and a game designer. So I game with rules lawyers. And that's fine. But I'm talking about strong players who think out of the box and will surprise you. And literally, like, I never expected that, but it makes way too much sense. Holy crap. Why didn't I think of that? That's what you want to have a great session.
Yeah.
At a con, at your home, whatever. It all works together as a perfect mix. And similar expectations. All right. I mean, I like to run less rules-heavy games. If my players want crunch, they're not going to be enjoying it as much. Just like if I throw my players into a very crunchy game and they wanted something like Swords and Wizardry or OSC, and they're like, what the hell is this? You got to find the right balance. Everybody's got to come to the table and have what they want.
Yeah. I got a lot of books. It's another shelf wider and a couple shelves taller. And I don't know if I should be proud of that or not. I don't know.
Dude, listen, any convention I go to now, and my wife will tell you this, I fill the trunk with things I can donate for an auction. It's like stuff that I am not going to use. I won't. Yeah. I'll look at it and go, oh man, I had great expectations for that box game that I never even got the cellophane off of. I'm donating it because it needs to be played, right? Yep. I don't need to be the RPG hoarder.
Yeah, that Frosthaven that got auctioned off at Rogers Con last year was mine. I backed to Kickstarter, the full thing. I couldn't wait to get it. Open it up once, looked at it, and I was like, I'm never going to get to play this. Put it back in the closet. And the last time I took it out of the closet was to bring it to the con and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living campaign is I guess what I would call my campaign that I'm running, sort of like a West March, the living campaign type of thing. Yeah.
And I agree with that statement as well. I love living campaigns.
Yeah. No, I think they're great. And I think especially for a long-term, like a long-term game, that's going to last, you need to have things that, that definitely update, and that are constantly going instead of coming back to the same small town. Like it needs to grow, and things need to change.
The world has to exist beyond just the players.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. That's a good. I believe that's towards the 5e thing, but that's roll rather than roll. They want to definitely
it's just ingrained in that system. That's
insight. I remember that trying to run one shots, like basic or whatever, and you get the 5e players. Oh, I want to roll an insight. Like, well, what do you want insight for? Like, you're coming up on a hill. There's a cat. Well, I want to see what I see, and like I want to know what I see. I was like, well, then just tell me. What do I see, or what's in here, or what?
When we were playing Sunday, we were playing Dragonbane. props to Free League. Dragonbane is so good. We were playing one of the, that Free League, the free RPG day game. And it was loaded with puzzles. And I like puzzles. Like Gary Gygax was terrible with his puzzles because they were so obtuse. And
oh my God.
it was clearly meant to just be annoying and kill your character. So I don't like that. But the puzzles in this game, I loved it, and I was trying so hard not to roll. Okay, let me see what I find. I'm gonna get this puzzle. That magic cube, I did that with that help, and I was super excited about that. And then then the king walking through, man, I sat there and I'm looking at it, and everybody's waiting on me. Well, Joe was doing his thing, so I'm sitting there, and Nabil, the two of us are like, oh, I'm just not getting this. I understood what it wanted, but I just couldn't get it. And I was like, Roger, can we just do an intelligence check? And he was like, yeah, go ahead, of course. So fortunately, I made the intelligence check. So he gave me one hint. And the second he gave me that hint, I was like, no more. I got it. I've got this. Yeah. And so I was able to figure it out. That was so exciting. Whereas you put the puzzle in front of me, I'm playing 5th edition. Everybody roll your intelligence check. Oh, you got it. Okay, you solved the puzzle. Move on.
Yeah.
That's boring. Yeah. There's nothing. There's no accomplishment in that. And that's it. I was so proud of myself. As ridiculous. I mean, it's mass marketed. Hundreds of people, thousands of people have played this, and they've all figured this puzzle out. But I was so happy that I was like, yes, I have figured these puzzles out. I had a great time Sunday. By the way.
It's player skill versus character skill, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I did a video on that too, because I'd rather listen. Even like Swords and Wizardry, there's thief skills, right? But when I run Swords and Wizardry Light at a convention, I want my players to tell me, "Oh, you're looking for traps? Tell me what you're looking for."
Yeah.
If you tell me what you're looking for, maybe you'll find. Well, listen, you see, because the one trap was it's a first level adventure. The one trap was actually a bell that would ring. And they search it. They see a string, small string attached to the top of the door. They noticed it. Oh, I want to disarm it. Well, what do you want to do? Tell me, as opposed to the roll, because your roll.
I'm going to cut the string. I'm going to silence the bell.
Right. Your rolls are 1 in 6, but your player skill is limited to you, not to a die roll. Yeah, and you can tell that's what Gary was thinking, because thief skills suck until you get to name level. Why would you add your thief survivability is next to 0?
Yep.
If there are traps in a dungeon, you're supposed to find them and disarm them. Which, by the way, finding them is not disarming them. Finding them is, you made your 20% roll? Well, make it again.
Yeah.
Good luck. You now found the thing that's going to kill you. Excellent. Everybody else steps out of the room. They're waiting for you to die.
Yeah.
No. Think out of the box. I mean,
it's always funny with the rogue, the thief character, that everybody else. You mentioned, everybody leaves the room right before they disarm the trap. But if that trap's on a chest, everybody,
what you doing there, thief?
Everybody leaves the
Need
room.
Some help.
If the trap goes off, nobody's in the room. If he disables the thing and opens,
I was right
chest,
behind him.
Everybody's right there,
watching him like a hawk.
Yep.
Yeah. But listen, I will say I've only played one session of 5e. I played Snoopy on the Peanuts as a monk, 7th level monk with my little flying doghouse. And it was at ShireCon a number of years ago, and I was given my character sheet, and it was 8 pages long. I looked at the 8 pages, and I said to the GM, and it was Scott from Rising Phoenix. I was like, Scott? He's like, yeah. Do I need to know anything beyond what's on my first page? He goes, yeah. All right, well, I won't know it. If it's because... And that was a 7th level character. I can only imagine what happens if you're 10th level. I mean,
that's DCC. Like my beloved Weird Frontiers. Mm-hmm. I love playing the gunslinger. But if you look at the gunslinger, like, in fact, I just looked at it today. you know, the printout is 4 pages front and back. Man, all I want to do is fan my hammer and just shoot things. I don't need to know any of this other stuff. But there it is.
Yeah.
You know, and no hate to David Beatty. I love the game. I love Weird Frontiers. It's just, you know, it's DCC. There's so much going on.
And the thing with DCC is it's because of the number of charts, it's more intimidating than it needs to be.
Absolutely true.
Honestly, if you took out all the spell charts, maybe you'd have 128, 160 pages. But because you have all this, now Weird Frontiers, you also have history of the world and the alternate history of the world. I love playing DCC powered games. I've played at David's, I played MCC and DCC, and I played with Doug Kovacs, and you know what? I'm happy. I've run it when it was first released. I'm happy to play. I don't want to ever have to wrap my head around the rules. Just tell me what I need to do. I'm happy.
Yeah. I ran it. I ran a lot of DCC. I really latched onto it. That was the game that I latched onto when we stopped playing 3rd edition, and then 4th edition came out, and then we all know the story. But so I'd switched to DCC, and I loved running one shots in DCC. It's just amazing. It was a blast. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
And I tried to run a campaign on a couple occasions, and it's okay, but the magic gets
power creep is a problem with
way
DCC.
out of control, right?
Well, and it's not just power creep. We had Joe the Lawyer was one of my players when I was running trying to run a DCC campaign, and Joe is huge on running spellcasters. He always wants to be a spellcaster. That's his stick. And after like 3 sessions, it's like I can't do it. Because of the swing, Normally you're playing basic AD&D, any of your classic, OSR games. Magic, you just have an idea. My minimum, my maximum, I have an idea where it swings into. DCC is this.
Yeah.
If you can't handle that, you're gonna have a problem. And
you cast darkness, and it you might blow a candle out.
Yep.
Or you might black out the sun for 6 weeks.
Yeah. It's crap.
What are we doing?
Yeah. So
Roger and I were talking about that over lunch the other day. In Weird Frontiers, I played a Revelator. It's a priest. And he was really fun. But by some miracle, I was getting amazing rolls when I was playing him. I would cast a spell, and I would do so well that I would I'm levitating 30 feet above the battlefield where nothing can touch me. And I'm raining down holy fire upon my enemies. And I was like, what is going on?
And giving everyone a bonus.
Oh yeah. And giving everybody a +5 to hit and damage. And it was crazy. And, and one of the first campaigns that I joined Roger in was the Un-America campaign, DCC post-apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
Love that setting, by the way.
Yeah.
I had such a good time.
Yeah.
And I played a driver, a petrol head, because it was like Mad Max. All I wanted to do was drive my blue pickup truck, and that was all I wanted to do.
Right.
One of the other characters, or one of the other players, he was playing some sort of a wizard. And I think when we stopped playing, we were 7th level or so. But Tyler would cast his spells, and even if he rolled okay, it was giving us a +8 to hit and damage, and we were just wiping everything out. And and for me, eventually it was this really isn't that fun for me. I like the setting, the game's really cool, but I don't want to sit here and watch the wizard just destroy everybody, and then the rest of us are sitting here sucking our thumbs. Yeah. Anyway,
it gets crazy.
Challenge. It can't be a pushover, and that's part of the reason why, for me, 5e. I think the system isn't bad. I think the power creep is horrid, and it's Where's the challenge? And I'm not saying that OSR is for everybody. I'm not saying that. But where's the challenge when you're starting out as superheroes as opposed to getting to that point?
Right.
It's like,
Right. And and I get like the thing about like the OSR games, and we went through it too, where you have characters, a couple bad rolls, and somebody's dead.
Right.
It's gone. And so I get that, and I get why like people give like max hit points at first level and like things like that to try and soften that blow.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
But like 5e goes like too far in the other direction, where now it's like it's impossible.
Fill your save versus death 5 times in a row, and then you could be dead.
Yes,
no
kidding.
We'll see if you actually are. It's like
yeah.
It's like,
Chad, thanks for coming.
Yeah, Chad, you can blame me if you're coming from my channel, but I was at puppy training. My dog's doing so well. I'm just a happy puppy owner.
So what we kind of talked in the beginning a little bit about what makes a campaign great, and the three of us anyway were pretty set on the GM and the players being probably the biggest thing. What do you think, Eric, as far as what's like the biggest thing? Is it the GM, the players, the system? What's the most important thing to make a great campaign?
I think that you first off have to have a system that everybody buys into. All right, you just can't say, "Hey, we're going to play DCC because I'm the GM. Sure. That's what I want to run," and your players are like old Joe the lawyers, and they're going to be fucking miserable. I don't know if I can curse in your channel, but I've already asked.
It's all right.
All right, we're not that child friendly, but seriously, if your players aren't going to buy in, you're going to have a miserable time, and they're going to have a miserable time.
Sure.
The GM. For a successful campaign, in my opinion, shouldn't be learning the rules as the game goes on. He should be knowledgeable of the rules. You can you can do things like, I don't really know the rules on a one shot, maybe as a side thing, but if you're going to be running a campaign, don't just go, I got this great box set and I just read the rules once and I'm ready to run it. Because unless you have a player or two that are experts, it's going to be a miserable experience for everybody because you're going to be constantly stopping.
We switched to Castles and Crusades. It's been like 9-10 months ago now at this point, but and we started pretty much from scratch. I mean, well, not from scratch. We've played like one shots and small things and things, and Jason played like a longer game than I have with it, and I was in a few sessions of things, and it was kind of like a learning experience. Not that Castles and Crusades is by any stretch like difficult to learn, if you understand any kind of OSR game, but yeah, definitely knowledge of the system going in is definitely a plus.
Yeah, and you want it to, and because we're talking about campaigns at a convention, you better not be learning that system if you're going to run it, because that's where players are going to learn a system. You want something that you can run fairly seamlessly, and if I'm running something, I'll let the players know ahead of time. Hey, listen, we're running a campaign in this setting, or hey, we're running. It's my own setting, but it's going to be episodic. So we're going to run 2 or 3 sessions, break, and then you're going to start at wherever else. Like we did back in the day, right? Well, where the setting was somewhere nebulously in the background, and you just pulled out an adventure from Dungeon Magazine. That's like DCC. Yeah. DCC is built like that because they've never really put out a real setting for it. I mean, they've been settings as Kickstarter.
Different, but nothing that's really in the core.
Right. It's episodic. Core setting, it's kind of like, there's a setting in the background. Don't worry about it. You have your adventure, and then in between adventures, you're doing something nebulous. But I think if you're going to do a campaign, you have to have a world. It can expand as your players are going through it. That is fine. That's probably the best way. I don't think we want to take like the Forgotten Realms and like throw it on the table and go, here's the Forgotten Realms. These 17 books in the last year and a half have come out on it, and we'd like you're going to be tested on this in the next week and a half. Your knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that expanding as the players get more powerful, but I think as a GM, you got to worry about over prep. I mean, if you're going to be running something like we're probably more geared towards sandboxes or hex crawls, depending on how you're looking at it. But I know people that will detail everything, and then your players go off in a direction that you don't want them to, and now you're looking at them.
I've definitely made that mistake.
Yeah.
In the past. Now I'm like the other direction with it, where I'm just kind of I fill things in as they need to be, and I kind of have a general idea.
The game mastering like by your teeth, like I'm on the edge.
Yeah.
But I think that personally for me, it's better for me as a GM for that because I don't get bored. I don't because my players are pushing me to be creative, and I don't over prep and then go, oh man, I got this great location and the players they're going to be too high in level to even go there. What am I going to do with this? I mean, I wrote it. I need to go.
You start turning all the orcs into ogres, all the ogres into giants, or you just kind of upgrade.
Yeah, so that's the danger of that. So I think, like for a successful campaign, you're broad brushes, and you throw out a few hints and require your players at the end of a session. Where do you think if you're wrapping something up? Where do you think you're going to go next week?
Yeah.
Talk out amongst yourselves before we wrap up, because I got to prep. And if they throw you a curveball and go, "Oh, we changed our mind and we didn't tell you,"
that's great advice. I just want to shout out, say hi to Greg Gillespie. He's in the chat. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.
Look at me.
I think definitely having having a setting that develops as you go and stuff is definitely important. To a bigger campaign. What do you think about having? This is a question for everybody, as far as the difference of having like a world that just kind of slowly develops, and you get to pick and choose like where you're going and stuff, as opposed to like running like just short, like the adventure of the week kind of thing. What do you guys prefer? I mean, I definitely like a large world that's developed.
Right.
I mean, you guys know, but especially the ones that have been that have played with me for a while. But do you think it would work, and you can have a good game that's just chained, adventures of the week together, or would that get old?
For me, it would get old. The adventure of the week, like when I go to cons, I'm sitting at a table, I'm going to do a 4-hour game, then I'm going to a different table, do a different 4-hour game. So I don't expect, like with George, George Hardy, I've played in a lot of his con games. None of them are related, and I don't expect them to be. I still have a good time because I know that I'm sitting down to play this one guy for 4 hours, and it's going to be cool. For my home games, I really want a world that it grows, because like I've said so many times, I've got that medieval simulator in my head. I want to see my character grow, and if my character is growing, the world should be growing. There's always something going on outside the city walls, so that's really important to me for long-term campaigns. I would just get bored to tears. We're meeting at the tavern at 4:00 and we're going out for 4 hours and we're coming back.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Having said that, I remember a much younger version of me that never gave a second thought to what was going on outside the gate. I sat down to play Dungeons and Dragons, and I rolled out of town with my friends, and that was, we came back and we partied at the bar. That was our big experience. So, my desire to see the world grow has been more of an evolution in my gaming style as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, and I think Eric mentioned like before, like having like, 8 books with the setting, that you have to memorize everything or whatever. That's like too much. You need to like slowly feed,
Right.
the players
It's gotta be
the thing.
organic. And
It feels like Warhammer feels like that to me.
yeah,
Like, and that's why I've never been able to like run a game of Warhammer, because anybody that would play in that game knows like
you know the lore better than you.
way too
That's
much.
not-
And I'm like,
That's not how it would work.
That was
Okay?
that was second
Skaven
edition.
would not be coming from there.
Yeah.
They'd be coming from the sewers. I
Yep.
know that for a fact. I read it.
That was second edition with Forgotten Realms. When Forgotten Realms exploded in the mid to late 90s,
Yep.
there were dozens and dozens of Forgotten Realms books. So running a Forgotten Realms campaign was extremely difficult. Oh, we forgot that this avatar died, and this, Cyric stabbed the god of death in the back. Now he's, oh my God, dude, can we please just play Dungeons and
If
Dragons?
you're not going from the gray box, it's dead to me. I'm sorry. Man.
I totally agree.
And even that was a lot. But
yeah.
I think that you can kind of you can start the campaign with like I don't know, 2 or 3 barely linked adventures, just so your party gets cohesive and gets an idea of that immediate area, and you throw out a little lore, but you're not giving them many choices. You go here, oh well, you got this or this. You're not giving them a lot. And once you get to like 3rd or 4th level, when they can probably survive going cross country without like huge crap, then you ask them, where do you want to go? Because then your players, you're giving them the ability to control the destiny of their adventuring and the world that you're creating. So, and you've got to establish them a little bit before that too, because until they've got 3 or 4 levels behind them, they're clay. They're not defined, right?
Sure.
If you're an OSR, it's not like a 5e character where you come into it and you're like, and I've seen this. I saw this back in the area of Tui. My character is the 4th son of Lord so and so, and it's like, dude, listen, if your character background is longer than 2 paragraphs, you don't need it, because it's not your background that matters in an old school game. It's your character's growth that matters. The heroics that you do as you're adventuring. And once you have a couple of adventures behind you and you've established a couple of levels, now your characters are getting a little reputation. And now it makes sense as to, hey, they're going from this little village to a larger town because, hey, they're moderately famous. They're like a low-level YouTuber. They might actually get invited to go somewhere and then move on from that. So I don't mind the beginning have it to be less invested in the setting as they're getting established. But once they've gotten to the point where they're going to want to stretch their arms, their legs, their abilities, no, that's when you got to grow the world. And that's when they kind of going, well, what's interesting? What rumors do we hear? Are there ruins? Is there any I'm already 5th level. I'm already thinking about what I'm going to get followers. I may need a stronghold. That's when the game starts moving a direction that isn't just a GM deciding, but players are investing.
Yeah.
Want to get?
I'm definitely trying to push my game in like that direction where players are trying to, build strongholds and things, and then give them the opportunities to, issue quests and things and say, oh, hey, I want to find this thing, and let's send a group out to that. And then eventually I don't have to do anything. I can just, the players can run themselves. And
AI Roger.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Get behind. AI take over.
I agree. Hatless Ash. That's I used to love the Fafford and the Gray Mauser.
I knew that's what you were going to use. I knew you'd say that.
I was going to say
you are correct. Yes.
I love that stuff because they would just every book they're in the tavern. broke because they spent all their money. They go out, they get a bunch of riches, they do the stuff, and at the end of the book, they end up back in the tavern spending all their money.
And that's true, but those books are written for a very specific audience.
Sure.
Yeah.
To do a very nobody, mostly nobody, wants to read a book that should be this thin and is full of adventure versus a book that is this thin with this much adventure and this much day-to-day stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's why those books are written that way. So,
but there's also the implicit setting that's already written into that too.
That's true.
Yep.
You know, usually when people do quote episodic like we did when we were younger, there was no setting, right? Until you found Greyhawk, you probably didn't know of any setting. And Greyhawk, the folio had so little details. And by the way, folks, if you have the Greyhawk setting and your players want to take over the Wild Coast because it's the only place that's not inhabited, don't use grease pencils to map out their advancement because it will literally pull the ink off your map. I learned that at 17. Not a good lesson. I still have those
episodic Shellback. I agree as far as like the party pool, and that's kind of the way that we discussed this in another episode. It's kind of the way that I run my game, where it's similar to like a West Marches type of game. And all the players come back to town at like the end of the session so they're available at different dates to go out. So it doesn't really matter who shows up like week after week. If we're missing people, we don't have to worry about, drop in and drop out. I am too, Death Angel. I am too.
Same.
I'm just a guest on a low-level YouTuber's channel. I mean, it's like pond scum.
So, yeah, someone asked if you had a YouTube channel.
Who, me?
At some point. Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah, you. Well, you were the only one because
because I talk too much.
I don't remember where it was. There's been a lot of comments. Yeah. We've never had this many comments on a show.
But we've never had this many viewers either. So thank you everyone for coming over.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely.
And I know you already gave him a shout out. Greg, I am delighted to see you joining us. It really means a lot to me. Appreciate that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very much like the same time that Dakota joined us. I was like, oh my God, I follow this guy on Discord. His painting is amazing. I can't wait to talk to him. Turns out Dakota was super cool. So, and Tinker also, thank you a million. So cool sitting here talking to these guys, man. Smiling the whole time because I love talking about D&D.
This is what we do. And by the way, Greg Gillespie, I played in his one of his Barrowmaze adventures at North Texas this past year. And listen, I played him. I never play magic users. I'm always like a cleric or the party needed magic user. I stepped up and took magic user. But we had traps, and Greg is somebody.
You bet you had traps.
We had a lot of traps. Greg is someone as a GM who it's garbage in, garbage out. If you ask garbage questions, you get back garbage answers. We learned that immediately, and then went, okay, let's think about that. And he made us better players. And I learned a trick or two that will make me a better GM, I think. But it was a really good experience. And there were 3 survivors at the end of our table. I got to say, I was one. My wife Rach was another, and the chubby funster, another Greg, was the third. But your mindset changes when you go. Because a lot of times you're at a convention, you're just like, I'm rolling. It's like, oh, wait a second. My thinking is going to make my character get to this die is going to kill me. Yeah. At some point, this die, the less I roll, the better I am. And
I had the extreme pleasure of playing twice with Greg at RogersCon at CNY. And unfortunately, I was playing. No, that's not true. I want to say I was playing a cleric. I was playing a fighter cleric. I was playing an elf, I think.
Oh, nice.
I barely survived the first game. I mean, if there was a trap, I was going to walk into
it. Wait. You survived.
I did.
And
then the second game, I asked him, hey, can I play the same character? And he was like, yeah, of course, go ahead. So the lesson that my character learned was look up. because there's always something above you waiting.
Oh my God, yeah.
And so we entered the barrel the first time, and we're taking 2 steps, and I was like, "Stop! Everybody, stop! Look up!" And I looked at Greg, and I said, "I look up," and nobody knew what the hell was going on, but Greg smiled at me. He goes, "You see something?" And I was like, "Yes, the lesson learned has worked."
Yes, there you go.
Because and but like you said, and this goes back to our earlier discussion. It was, I search for traps. No, okay, great. You're searching. What are you doing when you're searching for traps?
Right.
I am going over to the corner and I'm following the corner up. I'm looking above me. I'm looking down here. Okay, great. You see something.
Yeah,
Let's find out what it is. Oh man, it was.
When you search for
great.
traps, you're putting your character's life into this guy.
Right.
D6, centiles, or whatever. But when you describe what you're doing, now it's like, oh, well.
Now he's in my hands.
Now it's in your hands. Well, I want to run my fingers lightly across. But when you run your fingers, you notice an irregularity. Now, even if you got a roll, you're probably rolling at a bonus because your character has more knowledge. But let's try not to roll. Because again, in the hands of a skilled DM, players don't want to roll unless they have to.
Yeah.
Trust me. And Greg is a very skilled. My wife had a great time. She and Greg, she said she was intimidated with the idea. She's like, "Oh my God, Greg Gillespie."
He kills characters for a living.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh my God, oh my God, all right, I'll just go. Do I have to go? Yes, you have to go. I signed you up." And she's like, "Oh," and then she's like, 20 minutes into it, she goes, "Oh my God, this is awesome.
Such a good time." Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I'm having to think. And she goes, "I'm really thinking. I'm puzzling the stuff out."
Yeah.
So it was really really fun.
Yeah, instead of just rolling the dice and figuring out what happens from there.
The first time, going back to playing with Greg, during the first game, we were not even inside the barrel yet. We were outside, and the wizard was like, "I'm going to go search the backside of the barrel," and everybody was like, "Okay, cool." And I was like, "Whoa, you're going alone?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go check it out." I'm like, "Dude, you're wearing a t-shirt.
Yeah,
what are you thinking?" So I said, I'll go with him. I'm going to try and help him just in case. Sure enough, 5 steps into the swamp, wizard gets smacked by a zombie because he wasn't thinking. The player wasn't thinking, this is really dangerous. I need to be careful. He was thinking 5e. The system will save me. I've got nothing to worry about. That's not what Dragon Slayer is, man.
The Owathar will kill you.
Absolutely.
It'll kill the TC. It won't necessarily kill the player. We hope not. But it should. I think even 5e players can play old school games and go back to 5e and be better players. Because
absolutely,
I think I want to tack onto that and say that really depends on the GM though. Mm-hmm. Because if the GM, if somebody walks into a 5e game and says, "Oh yeah, they're the thief. Oh, I go in and I'm very careful and I got my 10-foot pole and I'm dragging it along the ground in front of me and I'm looking for things," you could have a GM that just says, "Oh, okay, make a fine traps roll," or what Okay, and then it doesn't matter.
I'm going to tell a real quick story, but I was one of those many beta testers, but not in the friends and family aspect of D&D Next. 5e as it was evolving into 5e.
Yes, he is.
And Chubby Funster put together a group of play testers because he got the invite, and he chose people that were old school 3rd edition players, 4th edition players. He wanted to get this playtest group that had different play styles. And I can't tell, we played a number of sessions, and I'm just smiling because we still talk about the one session that ended it all. And we were in a defensive position, and I think we were arguing with goblins. We were first level characters, and we were parlaying and trying to intimidate at the same time. We had a good story, and he figured the story sounded legit, made a morale roll, and they let us pass. And the 40 player threw a fit. what did you roll? Not to the DM, to the player who was thinking out this whole plan. He goes, what do you mean? Well, what are you rolling? He goes, no, I just explained how we're, the story we're giving and and how we're going to approach it. Because if there isn't a roll, it's not D&D. What's your roll? What are you rolling? Are you rolling to intimidate? Are you rolling to coerce?
Oh.
So Greg was like, well, no, it's plausible. It fits. I rolled in their end that, no, he has to make some sort of a roll for this to actually happen. And that's when we never came back for another session. That ended that experiment because it broke the 4E player. Mm-hmm. And that told me that once we got to 4E was the point where there was a role for everything. It took power out of the hands of the player and put power into the I don't know, the mystique of the dice.
Yeah.
That's
I think apart. I think I have a little bit of experience with fourth. None of it was good. But as far as putting the power into the dice, I think it was 3.5 that did that.
Yeah.
There are
definitely the start of
pages and pages of skills and feats. And I thoroughly enjoy 3.5. I've got my collection next to me. I will still play it at the drop of a hat. But good Lord, I mean, it takes 3 days to make a character because there's so much you can do with it.
True. But by the way, with Joe Stone saying 4E is a video game. 4E.
That's right. It's World of Warcraft in a book. That's exactly what it is.
It was designed from the ground up to be used with the VTT. Mm-hmm. It was going to be microtransactions. So essentially, it's my understanding that if you were going to buy an orc, it was like 10 cents. You need 10 orc minis. They're 10 cents a piece, even if they're identical. And that was the microtransactions. And the reason why 4E was such a massive failure is, just like the 5.5. The VTT never happened. And the VTT never happened in this case because of a murder-suicide. The two main programmers were in a romantic relationship. The relationship went south. One killed the other and then killed themselves.
Wow. And I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. And then that's when this came to a screeching halt. Now, it didn't help that the 3D graphics they had for the dice rolling were literally cribbed from Fantasy Grounds. They were caught on that too. So WotC doesn't have a great history with VTTs.
Yeah.
So when I saw Project Sigil coming around, I was like, oh, this would be interesting. And as a side note, I got my invite to playtest Project Sigil, and then a week later, it was canceled. I couldn't get in anyway because I use a Mac, but I was like, oh, I got an invite. That's cool. It must mean it's be a dead project. And I was joking when I said that. And then they killed it a week later. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, 4th edition, because I loved 3.5 so much. When 4th came out, I was like, heck yeah, I'm all in. And I got it. And the first thing I thought was, this is World of Warcraft. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons because I want to play WoW. If I want to play WoW, I will go log into my WoW account and I will play Warcraft.
Yeah, WoW with dice.
Yeah, that's what it was. And oh man, such a terrible game.
They saw the money, and again, Project Sigil, they assumed it was going to be recurring subscriptions, and instead they lost a bunch of D&D Beyond subscriptions. So we shall see how the new leadership at WotC is. I have high hopes. They're guarded hopes, but they are high hopes from what I've seen. So we shall see.
I have no faith in WotC whatsoever. I will not buy another product with their name on it, just like I won't buy Disney. They can make the movie of the year, and I'll never see it. I don't care.
It's going to take about a year to see how the leadership changes things. I do know that at Gen Con, they were on basically a rehabilitation tour of trying to mend fences because the people that left were the people that were anti anything prior to 2015, or actually anything prior to anything that happened from Mike Merle's prior was probably on the verboten list. But we shall see if they can salvage anything.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if the CEO of WotC comes up and knocks on my door and apologizes to my face, I will believe it, and then I might start looking at their stuff again. Like that apology tour, that just annoys me more than them going, yeah, we were wrong. Don't do this apology nonsense. Make a product that doesn't suck and doesn't cater to morons, and then we can start from there. Other than that, I am not interested.
Did you see that? Did you see that photo with like Luke Gygax?
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah. With the AD&D photo.
Yeah, he had the president of Hasbro. He was at a game session. Yeah. President of Hasbro, president of WotC, and they weren't playing 5e. They weren't playing 5.5. They were playing classic AD&D. That to me says more about what they are trying to say than them coming out and saying it. And because it's like, well, if you're doing this just to appease your current players, you're going to be playing 5e, right? If the game 5.5, the best-selling game ever, come on, we sold 4 billion copies, believe us. They'd be playing that. Why are they playing classic AD&D? Because, believe it or not, I guess old grognards must have enough money that they are trying to find a way to get their hands in our pockets.
That's exactly how I feel about it. Yep. Yeah. And they don't get my money. And not only do I hate 5e and everything that represents, the Dungeons and Dragons movie came out, and it was just like the perfect encapsulation of everything I hate about modern gaming. But not just the movie, the poster that was painted by the great master Jeff Easley. They took his name off the poster. Yeah, how dare you do that? I couldn't believe it. And that's WotC. Yeah. At the end of the movie, who do they give thanks to? WotC. Ooh. I'm sorry. What about Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson and all these other visionaries that created this game? Man, getting lightheaded over here.
The individuals that recently left Wizards of the Coast under their own power. I think it was the new president and vice president coming in, and oh man, you guys are toxic. You got to leave. They are the ones that are responsible for our wonderful disclaimer, which, by the way, just to put this in perspective, starts with D&D Next. If you go on drive-thru and you look for any of the playtest material that was released under D&D Next, it's got the disclaimer. So early 5e has the same disclaimer. It is such a poorly, and I've gotten in trouble from certain elements in the industry for being so anti-disclaimer. But that initial disclaimer, if you saw it on the weekend it came out, it was like, I don't know, written by a 12-year-old when their father said, I need an essay from you so you can get out of your room after you did something bad. And they came. Yeah. They couldn't even spell Dungeons and Dragons right. With the initial disclaimer. It was that horrible.
Yeah.
So,
Decado, do you have anything to add to any of this? I hate the three of us
eating the popcorn.
Have been,
What's been doing?
Kind of jumping in over each other over here, and I want to give you a chance to.
You're muted. That's why we can't hear you. You're muted.
You're muted. We can't hear you.
Or your headset died again.
We still can't hear you. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Well, that explains why he hasn't said anything.
That's why he hasn't said anything.
That's my fault. He told us last time that his headset was bad, and I was like, you got to use a headset.
No, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, man. Now I feel bad because I feel like he's tried to say stuff, and
we just can't. We didn't ignore you. We just had no idea you were talking.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Well, hopefully we
can get that. Happen to him when
how's
he was still actually working.
Hey,
yes, there we go.
Hey, we got you.
You got a bad wire?
5 by 5.
stupid box caught on the arm of my chair, I think, and flipped the switch.
Ah,
Technology.
I would have blamed my cat. Just
we have
Yeah, my cat right over there.
strong
Technology.
sonotype.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Technology peaked with frozen pizza. My mantra.
So I hope you didn't think that we were you were trying to say something and we were just talking through you.
No. I fall into that. Like there's so many good like opinions and things. So I just end up soaking it in. I'm kind of in the same camp as Jason though. Like there's so many great games out there that I think the best thing with all the OGL nonsense was that people started to see them more. I know I did. And I was already done with. I mean, I was still playing it, but like a year before the OGL, I knew I was done with 5th edition because it just sucks to me. Anyway, like people love it, play it, please, but for me it sucks, and I don't want to play it. So I just started looking at other, and now it's like, my God, like I think we're in almost like a golden age for games because there's so many good games out there. I'm like, I don't really have a reason to ever go back to like looking at anything WotC does because I think they make like the lowest quality product as far as like quality content. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, you can go and get. I would rather spend. Obviously, it's cheaper, but like we've been playing OSE, and I have collected all the current carcass crawlers that they put out for that. It's like a zine.
Oh, it's awesome.
And those things are 1,000 times more useful than any extra book I bought from WotC that just kind of ruined the game, made it worse. These are all just kind of well crafted and simple to add into your system. Whereas like with WotC, with Tasha's came, it totally changed that game. Like there was, because I was running it at the time, and you could tell when somebody was playing a character from Tasha's because they were like, extra powered superhero just showed up.
You're
That's Tasha's.
You're talking about the Tasha's book from 5th edition.
Yeah.
Cauldron of
everything. Or something.
I had stopped playing 5e by then, and I don't.
Yeah,
I think Morgan King's
sadly
book
still
was the
were.
last one that I ever saw. Okay.
Conversely, I will say I think to give them some credit, which I hate to do, but the original print of their Volo's guide is probably my favorite book that they did. Because it just had like a really good stuff about like beholders and giants and hags and stuff like that. I didn't care about so much the playable races it added, but the that stuff was really good. Then they got, they had to spare like 5 people's feelings on Twitter and go back and reprint it and take shit out and make it a worse book. So
they've done that more than a few times. They did that with Curse of Strahd. They ended up
they did
having to redo some things.
The gypsies are travelers now, or some nonsense
the gypsies
like that.
And the
you can't use the word gypsy, it's bad, I guess.
And the girl in there, I forget her name, she's the gypsy, she's got a fake leg. They originally she was like ashamed of it and like hid it, and then they changed it so that she's like proud of it or something or other. I
waves it around or whatever. It's stupid. I mean, and they gave in the original, because I have the original, the reason she hid it was because she didn't want her enemies to know that she had it, because obviously it's a weak point, right? Like if I know you got a bum knee and you and I are going to get into a fight, the first thing I'm going to do is kick you in that knee.
That's right.
It's just what I'm going to do. So it made total sense. But again, the 5 people on Twitter that they try to appeal to, ultimately they've ruined their game because of it, my opinion.
Yeah. I think like what Death Angel says here, Tabaxi Monk and stuff, and banning all non-standard racing classes. That's part of it for me in like 5e. If I'm going to run a big campaign, I generally try and be like humanocentric, or make it more advantageous to be a human, and have just a couple options for other kind of races. Just
the old standard is fine. I mean, there's some extras you can throw in here and there. I've always been partial since early Dragon magazine to the half ogre. One, because I look like one and am built like one, but I've always just liked that, so I've allowed those in my game before. But I had a Tabaxi rogue in my 5e campaign. It was played great by the player; he did a great job, but it was a frustrating class to try to DM because he was nigh untouchable. Like it just great, and he did a great job playing him and took a lot of risks, but it was really hard to challenge him.
I think it's okay if you have like a couple of those things, but once you start adding in, 20 different, races that are all better than humans and nobody wants to
Why
play
play a
human,
human?
like,
Yeah.
it that like really ruins it for me. Like
I don't mind, like, some people get down, especially I think in the OSR, they get down really on those, like, type of, and I don't mind it so much if it's inherently built into the game, but it never was with D&D. So for
right.
me, who played it since I was a little kid, you start adding on all these weirdo races, um, not the half
The
that's
ogre
important,
half.
I'll tell you that much. Um, it, it just doesn't seem like the same game. Whereas I can play
Yeah.
Dragonbane and run around with mallards and wolfkin, and that's
Right.
part of the game.
But
That's
Right,
fine. No
that's
problem.
yes.
we talked a little bit about this in person, and I know Jason and I have had this thing, and like I'm okay with Dragonbane with the duck and the wolfkin because they're like they're the playable like races that are there, and like that's
Right.
all there is, right? They're
He's not
not
half
like,
orc or
hey, here's
anything like that.
here's 20 things that you can pick from, like, one of which is a duck and a wolf. It's like, here you go, there's human, halfling, the duckling or the wolfkin, like that, and that's like their elf and dwarf class, or
Right.
like that, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't like the way 5e treated non-human races, and 3.5 did this a little bit, especially later on in the run. It takes the mystique away from these races. The tiefling. Okay, a tiefling is a demon spawn. How can this be so common? What the hell's going on in this plane where demons are running amok, producing these? It's just ridiculous to me.
Well, no, come on. They reproduce themselves,
Sure. Yeah,
Tieflings,
asexually, of course. Why
yeah,
not?
well, 'cause,
They're potatoes.
we can't talk about those details because they can identify as they want.
Right.
But I mean, that's the whole thing. I understand options, all right. And listen, you want to do your own world. I go back to my college days. The DM that had winged halflings, whatever, dude. Whatever floats your boat. It's your world. That's great. But when you add too many pieces, like to anything that we had the baking a cake analogy earlier. If you add too many, like, I want to add M&Ms and chocolate chips, and what about the Reese's Pieces? How about we add some cotton candy and some broken up candy canes to that mix while you're at it? Oh, and some Jolly Ranchers. You can't. You get too much into it now. It's not even recognizable anymore. And I think that's part of the issue that we have. I mean, but also remember those two, you can't have half races anymore because that shouldn't, is Tennis Half Elven still in the Dragonlance, or is he now redefined? Because
that I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They would never write those books now.
Oh God, no, it can't.
Nope.
I
remember going back and reading those as an adult, and I was like, wow, they really like hit some adult themes in those books. I mean, his whole backstory, is and there was a lot of that in there. Like, they were very, in some ways, I think, ahead of their time. And they would never do them now. I mean,
yeah, Tennis even in the Dragonlance 5e thing. I don't know. and by the way, I never owned more than one of the modules, but I did enjoy the novels. Okay,
I never played them. I've read the books. I still read the books. It's some of my favorite stuff, but I've never played the modules actually.
No, I that's a real railroad on steroids. I just can't do it, man.
Yeah,
this is
I'd rather read the books.
I think,
honestly.
Yeah.
The alien nature of non-human races. I think that's important to show that they're not familiar with human society and things like that. I think that helps. Like, I've always had elves and dwarves being like, secluded off somewhere and not.
5e does away with it, right? 5e,
right.
These different races are just different nationalities of humans, kind of. Sort
now
of.
they're just basically skins. I mean, they don't.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they don't really anything.
It's a 99-cent outfit on Fortnite.
Yeah, it's like, hey, my dwarves work in armory and bake scones at the same time, wearing sandals.
I need to work on that. Apparently,
yeah. I want my kitty cat in my armory because especially that works out really well. Have you ever seen a cat go on fire? I had a cat walk into a candle one time.
Oof!
Put her out real quickly. Learn that you can't have candles around at Christmas time on the table, and have the cat jump on the table because they're like, "I'll walk right over this." No, I mean, the lack of reality with D&D 2024 and just the imperfect artwork is like, what are you trying to? Why are dwarves baking scones? What?
Oh God!
Purpose smithy.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the great question. But then WotC tells you exactly why they're doing that. And so for me, I go back to that's fine. I can keep my wallet, or I can give it to Greg Gillespie, or I can give it to Joe Block.
It's what they do in Seattle when you have a smithy. You bake scones with cats and people wearing sandals.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
What you do.
Yeah.
I wish I could pull up that image. That image is hilarious where they're all at the dinner table and there's like a taco and like there's all like a bunch of different foods from different, human, Earth, cultures or whatever.
I always pull those off Twitter when I see them. I pull them off Twitter and I send them to my group's group chat, and I'm like, "Well, this just screams adventure, doesn't it?" They're like,
"I can't wait to play."
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab my falcon as I go falconing on my adventure.
Yeah. Next week adventure is to find the appropriate taco seasoning. From the
going back to the races thing.
Yeah.
I will never feel bad about my segues ever again. I'm good. We were talking about how different races not necessarily should be treated, but the mystique of them and the alien nature. That's one of the reasons why I was such a huge fan of the Witcher series, both the books and the video games, not the Netflix show.
Oh, it was awful.
Yes, it was.
It got first season started out okay.
Right, well, the first four episodes of season 1 mirror the first book almost letter for letter.
Yeah,
so
and then
that was good.
Started coming off, and it's like,
but I really like the way that humans and non-humans interact in the Witcher series. And the whole story is it was these two spheres that the convergence. So they are alien to each other.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that they couldn't get along if they tried. They have no desire to get along. The elves, the Scoia'tael, gladly kill any human they find. The humans gladly kill any elves they find because they are so alien to each other. And then I really liked it. Now, I don't want that level of darkness in my normal D&D campaign, but like when Tyler, one of our players in our campaign, when he was like, I just really want to play a halfling ranger, and you didn't want him to for the longest time. You were like, I'm trying to keep this as humans.
Yeah.
But we kind of took a vote and we're like, just he'll be an oddball. He's the only non-human that we have, and I liked early on when he was in the campaign, we were all like, where's Shorty? But then as it's been 15 months. So as we got to know this halfling, we don't treat him as a half man. He's another one of the group. And we don't do a lot of play in town, so that relationship will very likely never come up in town. But I like that he is the only non-human in the party. It's and like we found an elf NPC once, and in fact she was dead. I had to use my speak with dead. That's the only way we ever even interacted with her. And so I like that. It keeps the non-humans non-human. Yeah. It keeps them alien. And I think that's great. So when we find an ancient elven rune, we're like, wow, this is really foreign to us. I think that's great.
So. Oh, by the way, I wanted somebody had mentioned something about an OSR knitting book. I do know that Foogly, a frequenter of my channel, is working on an OSR coloring book. Okay, if you want to see some OSR personalities cartoonified in a coloring book, God help you if you wind up in this book. You might be saying he's extremely skilled. He's the one who did the 10 cars toilet sign that I have hanging on my bathroom door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Foogly is also, and by the way, Foogly just sent me a photo because he does all the Renaissance festivals, and not baking scones, but it is apparently someone working at
let's do this here.
I know, hold on. Someone working at Smithy in bare feet. So, all right. So, I'm braver man.
That's ballsy. I'll give him that.
Ballsy. I won't even cook breakfast without wearing my shirt. Okay? Because it is dangerous and it is painful when that splatter hits you. So, I can only imagine in bare feet.
I'm a very low-level blacksmith, and I have ruined many shirts with spark splash trying to light my shirts on fire. Yeah. Including my beloved Pearl Jam concert shirt. Yeah, that didn't make me happy at all.
That would be like me ruining my Ramones shirt. I would.
Yeah,
there would be tears.
Yeah, I saw him on the Yield tour. Man, I went to put my shirt on one day, and there was a hole this big in it, and I was like, "Oh no!"
It's not from a cigarette or a cigar. It's from.
Yep, from sparks.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Sorry, I got Billy Idol now. What's up?
There you go.
Great concert. Great concert. Okay,
go. I got my CNY, my CNY t-shirt.
Represent.
Going, yeah. Good times. Yeah, there you go. Get back to those drawings. Get that coloring book finished. We all want a copy now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen some of the pages. And, oh my god, classic. And there were people who go, "It doesn't look anything like me," and I'm thinking it looks exactly like you. But I'm not going to tell which people that's about. I'm just saying.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. So yeah, we've kind of covered a lot back and forth.
Broad spectrum of
with some of this.
Yes.
Yeah, broad spectrum. We do get off topic a bunch. But
it's just a display of our passion is all it is.
No, it is. Right. Is there so just to kind of get back on topic? So I had the 5 things written down: the GM, players, system, story, and setting. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that I missed? Is there anything else that makes a campaign great? That's that's none of those things, or if anybody wants to touch on any of those things again.
Well, I think it's that group magic, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
intangible that you don't plan for. You know when you have it. Okay, you know when you have that group magic, and you're like, wow. I'm going to bottle this. That's when you know it's going to work well. All right. And my biggest advice is this is how we've always done it since the beginning of my online groups, like, I don't know, over a decade ago, is that, yeah, you can invite whoever you want, so long as they understand they have a 1-session trial. And if anybody gives the infamous black ball, in the voting, just one vote, they have to appeal to everybody, and everybody has to vote honestly, because you're changing group dynamics when you bring people in, and
for sure.
So that's always got to be something that people have to understand. I've been lucky over the years that we never really brought anybody in that was a walking bag of shit, but we've come close. They never showed up. It's like, oh, thank God. All right, well, they had something else to do. All right, well, invite them.
When I was in Alaska, we had a group that had been playing for 5 months or so, 5th edition. What are you gonna do? I was playing a ranger, and the DM had a buddy that he wanted to bring into the game, and we're like, yeah, we got room for one more. Why not? Sure. And he's like, but before he comes, I have to tell you guys something, and everyone has to give me the okay. He's he's a registered sex criminal. And the second he said that, all of us are like, nope, boy, I don't care what was going on. The answer is no. And so that was the end of it.
Yeah.
But that's exactly that. Even if one of us had said a sex criminal, no, then the answer would have been no, and it was never brought up again. So great.
Joe's got a good question here. If any of you guys ever started a game you thought was going to last a while and be really fun, and then it just crashed and burned, and what was the specific thing that made that game bad? What
oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, what do you got, Ducato? What you got any examples, story you want to tell?
Yeah, I mean, I think when 5th edition first came out, I stopped and started at least a couple times. And I think what really for that game that really crashed and burned it was me. Like, just it wasn't I like to run the players are they're the heroes of the story. So like they do heroic shit. They fight big bad monsters and save the world and do all that stuff. And that's the type of game I gravitate. And I was trying to run a very different game than that. Like they were a little on the shady side and all this stuff. And it just didn't click with me. And because of that, I had no inspiration to really work on it. And it died. Like we just stopped playing it. But I've had systems crash my games too. Like it was like I had a 3rd edition game that we played for a long time. It started in AD&D and then went up through into 3rd edition and Pathfinder, and it just became such a nightmare to juggle mechanically to prep and stuff that it just killed it.
Yeah, I feel that it took a while for us in 3.5, like several years, of playing before it got to that point where it was like unmanageable. And I've said this before. I think somewhere around 12th level or so, somewhere between 12 and 15, I think is where 3.5 really starts to fall
15,
apart.
16th level, and
that's problematic because everything's you're rolling. Everybody's got like 4 or 5 attacks. You're rolling like plus 20 something to hit, and I mean,
monster stat block is like multiple pages. I'm
huge.
Like, I can't remember all this. Like
that's why I'm drawn to like CNC because it's like, oh, what do you need? Oh, I need the monster hit dice. Like that's it. That's all you need.
That's all I really need.
Yeah.
You can make up stuff on the fly so easy with that, and other OSR games. But
yeah,
that's what killed it for me. Was either not the style of game that I'm used to running, that I like to run, which then kills my interest. So that's not going to get the game to progress, or mechanically it just becomes such a pain for me to run that I'm just not going to do it.
See, for me, I had great plans. I was running Lost City of Baracus from Frog God, Sword and Wizardry. Campaign kicked off really well, and I had a 2-part session, which we had to end as half the party was either dead or dying, fighting a dragon. They were all like 5th level, unbalanced. They should have avoided it. Came back a week later, and a miracle of miracles, it was good player rolls. They drove the dragon off. 6 players, two survivors. They fought off the dragon. It fled. They raided the treasure, and then everybody's like, "Well, we're not going to ever top that." And the 4 players that lost their PCs are like, "Well, I'm not invested in it anymore because I'm dead." And it's like, all right, well, I guess we're fuck. All right, like we're done. I mean, and they're right. You're not going to top that. At 5th level, you pushed off. It wasn't an old dragon, but still, you drove off a young dragon, and you had 2 survive. Yeah, all right. Then climaxed early. It's like 18-year-old sex. I mean, you're done, and you're like, what happened? And that was that case. So,
do you think that Swords and Wizardry is a good system to run like a long-term campaign in?
If you're gonna run Swords and Wizardry for a long-term campaign, use the complete rules because you get all the classes that will allow you to. And then I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna want to because we're all tinkerers. You're going to want a house rule. You're going to want to steal something from Dragon Slayer because Dragon Slayer has some pretty nifty rules. Or you're going to want to steal something from Hyperborea, which you can do and you won't break the rules. For me and how I tend to run campaigns, my players and I generally run out of steam around 7th or 8th level because 4th level spells are about as powerful as we want before the wheels fall off the cart and it gets wonky. I mean, every session kind of turns into a DCC session. Either it goes horribly well for the players or it goes horribly horrible for the players. It's one extreme or the other. It's never like a well balanced because 5th level spells get swingy. So when I expanded Swords and Wizardry Light with James Bond, we expanded it to 7th level. That was actually Bill Webb telling us you can't stop at 6th. And we're like, well, 3rd level spells. You need 4th level spells. But that to me is the point where if you go beyond that, the campaign has to change, right? You got to change to domain play, or you're only going out for Earth. You're the Avengers now. You're only going out when you're saving the universe. So there's that change. So I'm happy if my campaign makes it to 6th, 7th level. I'm happy. Joe the Lawyer's 2E campaign, I hit 8th level as a gnome priest, and honestly, in all my years of gaming, that's the highest I've ever legitimately gotten a character in a campaign, because I was always the DM anyway. But a legitimate character to 8th level, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I got here. And I'm happy with it. But I don't think I would have been happy getting to 9th level spell because I can raise dead. Well, now it's just silly. Right? Now you're taking away. Oh, well, sure, I'll take the risk. Eric can always just raise me. Now that's so. That's for me. That's where campaigns break.
Yeah,
up. I don't like
and I think that's where, like in my game, we've got some characters that are like 9th level, and I'm trying to get them to move more into like a domain play, or more like like get the character to retire. And I mean, there's things that like they got to finish up currently and things like that are out there that I'm not going to force them into retirement. But like if anybody gets closer to like 12th level or something, that's where I'm going to really start pushing, to retire, or to not to retire, but just to have them, hey, here's the keep, and have them, give out quests and stuff.
And that's the thing, right? Like go back to AD&D name level. When you got all your followers, you built your stronghold, you built your keep.
9th level and stuff,
Why would if your character is now responsible for this fiefdom, why are they going out there risking their lives to kill dragons or any of that?
Right.
Why? They can pay people to do it, and I'm sure that's what Gary intended. Was like, you know what, the players, but players are of different minds, especially when I was younger. I'm not saying you don't have like a 17th level paladin. I'm just saying I don't feel in my older days that it was legitimately earned.
Sure.
As we play them now.
And Knucklebone, okay, how do you get powerful enough to kill a dragon? And that's, and I think part of the key of like killing a dragon is with numbers as well as
numbers.
And they're supposed to be difficult. They're supposed to be difficult.
And
you shouldn't have a party of 10, of 5 people that are, just able to go out and just kill a dragon.
What size dragon is it? Again, with it was like a young dragon. I think it only had like 40 hit points, and they didn't kill it. They drove it off. Because dragons are not stupid beasts. They're not going to.
Self-preservation is a very real thing.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's like that the Elmore painting. There we've talked about a couple times on the show, but
the Dragon Slayers,
the Dragon Slayers,
or Dragon Hunters. I think it's called Dragon Hunters. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and there's like 4 of them, and they've got this dragon that's like
slightly larger than a gecko.
Yeah, like
but they're all like,
look at us, we killed it.
Yeah,
like
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. How do you kill a dragon? A well-placed arrow to the heart. Isn't that
Name your character Bard and have him be really good with a bow.
Give him a black arrow.
There you go.
There you go.
Black arrow. Yep.
Yeah. How do you kill a dragon? So I, on that, and this is like off topic, right? But like, I like how they did that in the Lord of the Rings movies there, where they made it a thing. Like, you gotta find this thing and you gotta, hit this dragon in the right spot and do this thing. And it was no, the thing doesn't have any stats. It doesn't have any hit points. This is the only way to do it. You
have to make this basically a called shot.
Yeah.
Critical hit.
That's the only way to bring the thing down. And I like that. And so when you start ambush with, grand battery of artillery and stuff that can help it. That helps the situation. And that's kind of how you got to go at it. You need an army, I think, to do it. Because when 5 characters can just take down this huge dragon, I think it takes away from,
cheapens it.
Yeah, right. Excuse me.
No, used to.
Yeah, Paul Burns, you kill a dragon with plot. That's how you do it. That's how you do
it. The best way.
That's how Disney keeps characters alive.
There you go.
Yeah, it's true.
There you go.
Sure.
But that's and we've talked about that before with characters getting high enough level where they're going after gods and stuff. And I thought it was a big mistake to start putting stats for gods in the books and things like that, because people just want to go after them. And
well, it says here Thor only has 96 hit points. I've got 140.
Yeah,
I can take them.
Yeah, there you go. 5e made it easier to kill dragons. Definitely.
Yes,
And I think
they're just bags of hit points.
So some of that too, though, is I don't know if I blame 5th edition for this or whatever, but yeah, poor DMing, where you've got an influx of people coming in to play the game, and they just see these stats and what the thing can do, and they're not thinking oh, a dragon's going to be in the air, doing these kind of, swoop in, dragon breath, fly away, come back. So they just put the dragon on the ground in a cave in front of the group, and the group just wails on it, until it's dead. So yeah, a lot of that's the GM, I think, into doing that. That's definitely one way to do it.
It's a proven technique right there.
Solid.
So yeah. When Stan Lee was asked what character would win a fight, whoever the writer said would win. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, and and in my game, I'm on the dragon thing. I know in my game, there's a couple dragons that are out there that the party can't really deal with. And they're not really a huge threat. I mean, they're a threat, but they're not actively attacking the town or people or whatever, because, there's no one that is really high enough level to challenge the dragon, so, so the one dragon that I have, collects a toll via some kobolds, when people pass by, and that's kind of how that goes. And the players, they have yet to say, hey, maybe we should go kill the dragon because he's got all the riches and stuff, because it's a dragon, and they're
he's really big, and he's flying around, and he's red. So common sense has prevailed thus far.
Yeah, same in my game. They found one of the groups found a red dragon. I think he's mature in CNC stats. He's a mature dragon, and they ran away from it. And there has been no talk of hey, let's go fight that dragon, because it's not gonna shape out.
Yeah, and I think it's similar with this, where the dragon's there, and it's okay, he's not really bothering us. He's not an active threat. Let's not, get all killed trying to, go after this thing. But I mean, until they look at the treasure chart for that dragon, and then
they're like, oh,
then I
wait a
think
minute.
I'll have some players that are going to try and scheme their way into into that. So, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, we've been going quite a while here. Is there anything anybody else wants to add as far as making a game great? What makes anything else that makes a game great? A campaign, a one shot, any specifics?
No, I think you'll find it when you find it.
Yeah. You mentioned Tenkar about finding the group, finding like the right group and the perfect group. And like what happens when you have like one person that doesn't fit that group? Do you really I mean, you mentioned the marbles, like marbles in a bag.
Keep them out, right? But if they're already in, listen, if you're back in high school, or an adult, you disband the group, and then like 2 weeks later you bring the group back together with that one player. I'm not saying I've done that, but I've seen that happen. It's like it's a new group. Yeah, we're just done. Yeah, we're all calling it quits, right? Yeah, I got child care issues, and then like 2 weeks later it was like, oh, I could play again. I could play. I'm not saying that's a great solution. Nobody wants to hear that they are the one, right?
Yeah.
I don't have I could probably do a whole episode of Gamers Health on how to handle it, and I'll never have the right answer.
Yeah. We ran into that situation recently. Where we had a problem player that had gotten worse over time, and I don't know. I don't know if he was off his meds or I don't know. It just was, problematic, and when I talked to him, and it was, it was an issue, and it was kind of like a hard situation,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's gone now, and we handled it that way. But and new players coming on, you mentioned like giving people like a one.
Yeah, and you let them know. Listen, it's we're going to give you a session tryout. If you know right now, I play with a bunch of assholes and they don't like anybody. That's how you cut it up. Like, I play with a bunch of assholes. They don't like anybody. So don't have high expectations.
Yeah. And that's what we've done is we've done like the last time somebody new showed up, I ran a one shot like in the game world with different characters somewhere else. And then we kind of all talked about it afterwards and was like, okay, do we like this guy? Do we think, do we think he's going to work out? And it ended up working out, great.
And again, going to the black ball analogy that you used earlier, if one of us had said, no way, then okay.
Keep
looking.
Yeah. Right. Shellback says gold for XP and strict timekeeping. And I do variations on both of those. Yeah. Which is fantastic. I love it. But what's depends on how bad the match is. Integrated players who's odd man out, took time, is now well liked and welcome. Yeah, no, and that definitely can happen. You can definitely have somebody that comes around, and goes in the right direction.
You might be
it took us over a year to kick out the problem player. I mean, good Lord, we gave that guy some chances.
Yeah, dice fudging is I've had players like do that where they roll the die like in front of them with their other hand like covering the die, and they roll it, and then they pick it up and they look at it and they're like,
20.
oh, 19. Yeah, I've seen that, and it's like, come on, man. What are you doing?
I forgive you if you're 13, but when you're 33, I don't forgive you.
That's right.
Yeah. Good stuff. So I just want to give a quick shout out. I don't have the link handy. The Kickstarter for Arduin, and oh boy, I'm gonna have to look it up now. It's
Tonisburg and
Barrows. No,
I want to say Bunnies and Barrows, but it isn't Bunnies.
No,
and Barrows.
that's not it.
It's not that one.
But listen, it's under Emperor's Choice. Search Emperor's Choice on Kickstarter.
2 weeks left to go.
Yeah,
love those guys. Those
Wow.
guys are absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And they were at CNY. They're planning on coming back. Tenkar was at CNY. He's planning on coming back. Greg is planning on coming back. It's going to be fantastic. Barrows and
Ducato is coming back.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. Oh, but by the way, here I'm gonna slip a little announcement in. Just found this out yesterday. Well, we finalized it yesterday. Myself, Joe the Lawyer, and Joe Block are going to be doing a twice a month live stream on Sunday nights at 9 p.m.
Nice. I saw you guys. Was that?
Yeah, we did that little thing on Joe's channel, and we all hit it. We're like, wow, it worked out really well. We were like, yeah. And I was like, we're talking. It's like, we should do this more often. And all of a sudden, Sunday night special, spelled with a K, is going to be the twice a month live stream from the three of us.
Cool.
I think it's going to be really good because we have a pretty good, that's like this group. You have a good rapport. Everybody kind of feeds off each other pretty well. We have a good rapport. We feed off each other pretty well. And we are three opinionated. I'll just leave the blank out there for you. You can fill it in yourself. I've cursed enough for his live stream.
What time on Sundays?
9 p.m. because apparently they have to throw my. I tried to use ChatGPT to figure get my schedule going, and ChatGPT is like 8 p.m. I'm like, no. I know I do 4 of the live streams during the week. This one's got to be 9. I had to explain to it that you've already figured me out, and now you're wrong. So
I run my game from 4 to 8 on Sundays. So that's so we'll have to jump on and take a look at that.
We finish up at 8. Good.
We finish up at 8. It's fine.
Guys play in person?
Good. Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't play online.
No, I don't
can't.
Like I was just curious. I don't know how close. I knew you guys obviously in the same state, but I didn't know.
I'm the traveler.
Pretty big state. Just giving you a little warning. So
I drive an hour to play at Rogers. So
I can't drive 5.5 to play at Rogers. It won't happen.
Well, once Roger hits 1 million subscribers and starts making real money off this,
we'll
fly you out here every Sunday. Won't be a problem.
I'll get the helicopter landing.
Yeah.
You get the helipad built.
But we'll check that out. That'll be
Paul. It's going to be a discussion. It's going to be like a. If you enjoyed the stuff, I don't know, 20 years ago, point counterpoint, like the early Sunday morning, like you're wrong. Expect a lot of your wrongs, okay? Just
crossfire.
You're wrong, and I'm right. No, it should be fun.
Hey, Mike, welcome to the channel. I don't know whose channel you came in on, but well,
welcome anyway.
So yeah, and if any of my subscribers aren't subscribed already to Ducato or Tenkar's channel, please join them. I know it's probably the other way around. Tenkar's probably he's the big YouTuber here.
Yeah.
I'm a small fish in a small pond. It's an illusion.
Well, in this small pond though, you're the big fish.
I get to spend 3 hours talking about Dungeons and Dragons, man.
I
couldn't be happier about this.
Yeah.
That's better than
and I hope you had a good time. Hopefully we can get you back on if you're willing, obviously. We got Central New York RPG Con coming up in June.
Do it.
Hopefully everybody can sign up and get to that. We had an absolute blast last year, and we're planning on having an absolute blast again this year. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
But what any closing thoughts or anything? I know I jump in and talk over people.
No,
Jason,
Ducato. Like you said, if you're enjoying this live stream, you should be subscribed to at least 3 channels. Just saying, so you don't miss notifications. Especially Ducato and Game Master Roger, because they're going to be here every week. I will drop in as my schedule allows. I'm lucky. My wife is like, yeah, whatever. I'll play with the dog for the next couple of hours. You do what you got to do.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Greg Gillespie's Heifel?
Yeah, my son ran it.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing, but he ran about, I think, 8 sessions, and then we'll get back to it when his turn to.
And those are on your channel?
The recap. They're not live plays; they're just recaps.
Oh, I'll go check them out. Yeah, that's actually my favorite Gillespie dungeon is Heifel. Roger doesn't like it because it's elves or because it flies or whatever reason you don't like it. But I know you told me that it wasn't for you, and I was like, oh, this is great.
I bought that book at CNY from Greg, and just because I'm a completionist.
Yep.
And I already had Barrow Maze and Dwaro Deep, and I brought it home, and he snatched it and just started reading it. He's like, I want to run this. I'm like, well, run it.
Awesome.
I probably won't get a chance. So he did.
Cool.
And we used Dragon Slayer and played Heifel. It was a lot of fun. And we'll get back to it. Like, he plans to go back to it. So it's his turn.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So check that stuff out. Check out the other channels. And we will see you guys next week on the next one. Don't know to be determined what the discussion is going to be about, but we're guaranteed to go off topic anyway. So
it's a hex crawl, right?
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. We'll roll randomly.
What will we find?
That would be fun.
So
thanks to come back to that one.
There you go. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Be good.
Thank you.